Ladies and gentlemen, your brother Zoe Williams is in the building right now. We're not quite live yet. We on YouTube right now. You under dig? They can't hear you, but they hear me. You under dig? Get ready. We about to get busy. Yo, this is your homeboy Zoe Williams. I'm up in here live. Let me tell you right now, a couple of rules. Please hit the like button, the share button, the super chat button. Y'all be acting like, oh, I don't even want to fuck with this nigga with all his knowledge. Our good, great ancestor, Dr. Phil Valentine, will be calling in 10 minutes after the hour. It's about to be lit. You got to hit the like button. You got to hit the share button. You got to tell people, yo, Dr. Phil Valentine's finna come in here and drop major jewels. Is feminism and the Me Too movement, oh my God, is feminism and the Me Too movement the return of the goddess Cali? Oh, she's jet black. She's a Hindu goddess. This is where the word California comes from. Oh, didn't even teach you none of this shit, did they? And her whole shit is destruction. Undo everything. Yeah. Man, you better hit the like button. You better hit the share button. You better tell motherfuckers. These girls about to get an education. We about to go ham. So you already know what it is. Look, go support the holographic relationship. Go to my website right now. You under dig? Get your copy right now while there's copies to be gotten. Pick that shit up. Motherfucker gonna be mad. It's gonna be gone soon. I keep trying to tell you. Oh, you like my singing? No? Okay, cool. We got 3 minutes until showtime. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it. Get your energy. Bill sauce. Trax is stupid right now. James Broadway from the label Records provided all of these beats. Don't be afraid of the beats. I need everybody to support. Hit the like button. Go to my website, IamZoWilliams.com. Get your copy of The Holographic Relationship right now. Continue to support the Relationship Dismount. How to stick the landing when exiting a toxic relationship. Get them both. You dig? Get them both. The Relationship Dismount is available on Amazon.com in 3 formats: Kindle, paperback, and Audible. I don't have the Relationship Dismount. It's all through Amazon.com. You dig? Support, yeah, boy. Keep it cracking. The Holographic Relationship, physical copy you can only get from me, but there's a Kindle version. Go get it. We got 60 seconds before we start the show. So be patient. Your brother over here running it. Sarah and Peaches are in the building. Mimi, not so much. But we love her, and we're waiting for her, right? Yes, that's all that matters. Yeah. Here we go.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes 2 to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss a woman's ass. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my nip.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, is back in the building, so you already know what it is. You already know what it is. It's about to go down in the town. Why is it about to go down in the town? You know why it's about to go down in the town? Because this is a continuation of last week's conversation when young, hard-head Scorpio Christian women wanna battle their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I call myself Jesus. In the name of Jesus. I'm just playing. If this is your first time tuning into The Voice of Reason, please understand a little bit about what I do. Relationship Roundtable, right? It's a relationship roundtable, and Mondays and Fridays are the women's turn. To give us real good game. You know, dig on what's going on in their lives, in their minds about relationship, how to relate. What they contribute to the complexity of relationships with men. Tough shit, right? Oftentimes, who a society tells you are is the source of the conflict in your relationships. Uh-oh. Hey, man. Can I get any? Maybe not. Okay. Hey, man. Ladies and gentlemen, the Voice of Reason is live. Let's go. Don't forget the number to dial is 323-230-4610. I want to get your opinions. That shit slap like your big mama, don't it? Big mama slap the taste out your mouth, boy.
Right.
And then give you some water.
Yeah.
Break your backbeat.
Ladies and gentlemen, the number to dial is 323-230-4610. Let's do it one more time. Shit about to be lit tonight. Mm-hmm. You already know it's commonplace for me to promote products. Let me tell you right now. Bill sauce. I told people today on the What Morning Show that I carry this in my car now. And by the way, Bill Sauce family, I just got another box because I was out. I just got another box. Gunny fire. This is the one.
Oh, that's the one.
Listen, I keep it in the car. I'm driving around trying to taste test different foods so I can pour this stuff on it. You know how, hot sauce just usually in your house.
Yeah.
All right, go get the hot sauce. Now I'm out in the streets with the hot sauce, looking for food.
Wow.
It's really good.
Guns blazed.
Black-owned company, Bill Sauce. Some people say sauce. No, it's Bill Sauce.
Bill Sauce.
Bill Sauce. Don't you New York it.
Sauce.
You from Texas.
Get a rope.
Sauce.
Bill Sauce Company. BillSauceCompany.com. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. Dope ass company. Shit is fire. I just got back from Fresno State. Watching my son play their last home game. I needed this total package energy because otherwise, that 3.5 hour drive, you'd be nodding. You in the dig? But I did the 3.5 hour drive in 2.5 hours.
Wow, I bet you
no
did.
Tickets.
Yeah, I was whipping. Total package energy, man. This is the greatest energy drink on the planet, created for elite athletes. They don't get in trouble if they drink it. B vitamins, amino acids, neural enhancer. You in the dig with them? Stamina sustainer.
Yeah. For all y'all, they need a little extra energy.
Hey! Little Yohimbi juice.
Yeah, little push, little ginseng up in you.
Stay in power.
Little power for pushing for a little cushion.
Little damn near.
Very good stuff. Love that stuff. Also, I got a couple of things I need to promote. Very important. We got Beal Sauce. We got Total Package Energy. Now we got to do Dream No More. Rise of the Lion. Go to my man's Amazon.com page. If you like Lord of the Rings, if you like Star Wars, if you like sci-fi, please check this out. Sci-fi with spirituality.
I will, because I love sci-fi.
Please check it out. Mario C. Matthews is the author. You understand? Go check it out right now. Dream No More. Rise of the Lion. I'm wearing a jacket from my homeboy who's the security for Brother Rizza Islam.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, that's dope.
You in the dig? Fight Life Fit. Go check them out right now. Fight Life Fit. FightLifeFit.store. Go check them out right now. This brother's mother passed from cancer, so a lot of the proceeds are going to cancer patients. This brother's a good, solid brother. He got a whole fitness regimen. He's a professional boxer. Check him out. Just go to the website. If you feel like supporting, if you feel like riding, please do so. And then my homeboy, the guy who built my website. Now, his website company is called TriumphBeyondDesigns.com. They built my website. My website flied in the mud.
I'm going to check it out.
But what you don't know about this dude, this dude is probably one of the dopest poets in the game.
Wow.
And when I say in the game, in the nation,
Wow.
one of the dopest spoken word artists in the nation. And it's really, first off, the name of his book is JEFTC, Just Enough for the City.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that.
Just enough for the city.
JEFTC. Y'all got to get there right now. His website is even colder. Writing the number 4 mylife.com. Writing for my life.
I love it. And I love the graffiti art. Wow.
When I tell you this brother is ridiculous, look. Look. Y'all go cash mob the brother.
Yeah.
I promise you. You gonna hear this shit. You gonna be like, what? You gonna read it. You gonna be. Look him up. His name is Jorel Wright. He's the author. Jorel.
Jorel Wright?
Like Superman's daddy.
Jorel.
Kal-El. Do not interfere with them. They are beneath you.
Why do all your characters
But
sound like that?
you could be a symbol.
Sound like he is the king of Zamunda.
You could be a symbol to them, Kal-El.
Kal-El.
You are not to interfere with them in any way, shape, or form. I ain't lying, though. This book, though, Just Enough for the City. Go support the brother right now. And did I say the holographic relationship is now available on my website? It's live up on my website right now. You order right now, I will see it. It'll go, bing, Zo, you got an order.
Bing.
You in the dig? Now, for everybody hitting me up about the orders, please stop hitting me up individually. I'm not sending out individual orders. Tomorrow, I'm going to the damn post office. I'm sending out 200 copies. So don't hit me and go, my name is Bobby Joe. Did you send mine? Probably so, Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
Okay? Hundreds of orders are going out and have been going out. You in the dig? We 8 boxes in.
Wow.
We're 8 boxes in. Okay? So we're constantly, and I'm doing this by myself.
I totally understand.
I understand. We're packaging and sending them out. Please do me a solid.
So,
all right?
Your daughter quit on you?
No. I just asked her to do like 11.
Oh, yeah.
She did 11. She did 11.
11 with love.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want her, I didn't want her to really trip off, Because my daughter is like, okay. And how many more of these are required of me?
I wonder who she got that from.
Yeah, my daughter's not going to do it forever. So look, anybody whose address has changed, I have an email specifically for you. TheZoWhatAddressChange@gmail.com.
That's right.
Send all of that shit there. I will go check it and see, okay, this person is that person. Maybe I already sent it out to the old address. I can find out. Send that. What is that? Your digital receipt. Send your digital receipt if your address has changed. TheZoWhatAddressChange@gmail.com. All right? Okay. Let's get busy. It's time to do this real shit. And I don't know if you're ready. I don't know if you'll ever be ready. Peaches showed that she's not ready to have this conversation last week. Am I lying?
About Friday.
Let me see if this is my brother. Good brother Phil, is this you?
Yes, it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, fresh off the phone lines into the voice of reason cauldron, it's my good friend. Let me tell you right now, this is an elder. Oh yeah. This is an elder, right? I have nothing but the utmost respect for this brother. When I met him, it had to be, brother, I think it was well over 10 years ago. It was me, you, Kool Mo D, KRS-One, Tahuti Ma'at Ra, and about 15 or 20 other people at this lady's house in the valley. And we were having a relationship roundtable. And when I tell you, I knew the brother was on fire because he is the only one that I can go back and forth with about Krishnamurti. So many people don't know who Krishnamurti is.
Oh, Krishnamurti?
True.
You understand? Like me and the brother was like, oh, you know Krishnamurti? Yeah. Oh, shit. The rest of the people didn't know. But I had to bring the brother in because we had a topic last week, and I was trying to empower the sisters. I was trying to tell them that they are more than what Western religious ideology tells them they are. They're more than what the Abrahamic religions tell them they are. They're more than all of that. Does that make them more than us? I don't think so. However, I had to bring in a brother that is skilled in the science of our history. Let me just say, have you guys ever heard of Dr. Phil Valentine? So you will refer to him as Dr. Valentine. There will be no disrespect from your mouths.
I would never do that. Hello,
You need to behave yourself.
But one eyeball looked over here at me.
You hear my brother? He said, you better behave yourself, man. Come on. No, I'm just showing out because they know I mess with them. But today's topic is important because we're in a Me Too culture. We're in a Me Too world. Michael Jackson is being torn apart. Bill Cosby torn down. All these people being torn down. And it seems like toxic black masculinity is the favorite target of all of this media smear tear down campaign. So what I need from the good brother, let me set you up with today's topic. Is feminism, I have to say it like that. I have to put like mayonnaise on it. Is feminism is feminism and the Me Too movement the return of the goddess Cali? Now, none of the sisters in here know who the fuck Cali is.
Oh.
So my brother, who is a historian and a code breaker, this brother understands the code. Remember I was telling you the Bible is written in code. It's not meant for everybody to read just like a goddamn newspaper. It's coded. We didn't say one more thing.
Oh my God.
Don't you interrupt again, goddammit. That's Peaches. She gonna interrupt. She got questions. Brother Phil, she got questions. She gonna interrupt. Okay, cool.
I don't mean.
So look, I'm going to ask the brother some questions. I'm going to rattle off a few questions. And then, ladies, if you have questions for Dr. Phil Valentine, please ask him. I don't care what it is. I don't care what your religious background is. Please open up and share. I'm going to get out the way. I'm going to let the brother handle y'all unless you get unruly.
Why you looking at me, though?
Because you the unruly one. Now, here are the questions. The brother wrote a book, and I had to formulate a question off this book. What is the wounded womb's effect on intimate relationship? Wounded womb. What is the wounded womb's effect on intimate relationships?
What do you mean by wounded wombs?
Listen. Interrupt again. That's another one.
Wound?
Yes, the wounded womb. Can you explain that to Sherelle really quickly?
Doctor.
Phil.
Phil.
How are you doing? Please, not Dr. Phil. I don't like him at all. He's open. Dr. V, Baba, Sanu, all these other appellations are acceptable.
Hi,
anyway, beloved.
There you
Thank
go,
you.
brother.
Hello, family. Much love. I could really feel the love from in that room there.
Oh,
Y'all transmit a lot of love.
That's
right.
Which y'all sound like my family. So it's all good. I understand everything that you all are bringing to the table, and I love you all for that. Well, let's talk about this. The Wounded Womb came out of a sister actually gave me that title because I had, like the brother said, broken the code on the psychospiritual causes of women's diseases. And back at the time when I was married to a woman named Queen Afua, I began creating the infrastructure to what now then became the Sacred Woman from the psychospiritual and metaphysical perspective. I then turned that into a small booklet called The Wounded Womb and published that. But then the demand based upon the amount of women that were responded, I had to expand upon that. And so a beautiful sister by the name of Tassili Ma'at, who has a beautiful restaurant down in Atlanta, she gave me that. She said, well, we're dealing with wounded sisters, so why don't we talk about the womb being wounded? And I said, the wounded womb, yes. And so that's where the name came from, and it expanded into not only the physical, but in the psychospiritual, the metaphysical, mental, and so forth. And that question you asked about the wounded womb's effect on intimate relationships, well, all I can say are a few words. Psychospiritual and emotional imbalance, disorienting the scales of ma'at, distrust, insecurity, instability, impatience, short-term relationships, broken family structures, or what I've been actually coming upon now I call in my book, Wounded Womb, I call it Parasitic Parenting. These are some of the things that are that have caused the imbalance in intimate relationships between us because Western society, through the so-called feminist manifesto, has begun the process of what I call the Calian usurpation of primary power, which is the masculine principle. And so what we're looking at is not superior, which is what matriarchy and patriarchy mean. The arc being I'm above you, I am superseding you, and so forth. That was never an ideology of our people. We did not have these words, patriarchy and matriarchy, in our lexicon anywhere, because we understood what it is the feminine principle meant, and we understood what the masculine principle meant, and how they worked in conjunction to bring forth for one thing, and that was balance and order in society. Today, we don't have that. And the wounded womb, talking about the intimate relationships, when I speak about the fact that there is an impatience we have with one another, there is this insecurity because of distrust, and this distrust causes instability. This is emotionally taxing on both parties, and this leads to what I call short-term relationships, which then creates broken family structures, causing women to have to bear the double burden of being the head of the household, which is not her job, though she has been forced to believe it is and has been forced to take on that mantle. And then as a result of the destruction of that, of those very powerful inner structures of society that our women did, our grandmothers and grandparents handed down to us, we no longer know, based upon the fact that we've been here in the diaspora going under this madness, we no longer understand that, there's this distrust that's going on. There's this unearned power that women have been given. And I mean that by, in all, sincerity and love, that a lot of women want equality and superiority, but not responsibility. And the structure of society today, feminized as it is, allows women in the court system, in the legal systems, in the systems of where they're getting loans from banks, getting these startup privileges that men are not afforded because they have taken on this burden, because the society says that they're equal and should have the same opportunity as men to do what men do. So now the freedom that women have been given now taxes them. They have diseases that never before were plaguing them, like heart disease, which is essentially was men, strokes at a higher rate now that never happened with women because of the stress and the strain. And so with all of this going on, and all of this happening, you have what I call parasitic parenting, especially when it comes to men. Women today there is a statistic that just came out that stated that there are over 2.5 million men who are raising children unknowingly that are not their own. And this parasitic form of parenting has been supported by the society because, for instance, if, say, a child has an accident and needs a blood transfusion, and the doctor finds out that the father or the alleged father who was supposed to give blood, they found out the blood doesn't match, they are duty-bound by law not to tell the father that that child does not belong to him.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Well,
Bill.
who are you? He don't know who you are.
Hi,
There's 4
this
women
is
in here.
Donnie Keith, a.k.a. Peaches, the interrupter, as he calls me. But I wanted to ask you about the vaccination thing you were talking about, like the parasitic parenting, because how is it the woman that's doing like the parasite in the parent situation when, like you already said, we're the mother, the father, the provider? I mean, we're doing a lot. How do we bring back the femininity in our womanhood?
Okay, what I mean by parasitic parenting is that the woman who has the child by another man while having the husband raise the child, that's what I mean by parasitic parenting.
Okay.
A woman who has the child by someone else but does not tell the man that she's with that the baby is not his.
Okay.
He takes care of it, and then he essentially now has to bring resources to the table, not only love and resources, support, for a child that does not bear his genetic signatures into the next generation. And this is very, very important to men.
Yeah.
Women will always have their mitochondrial DNA into the next generation because they bear the seed. But men don't know, as they all say, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And that now they've found that under feminism that men are not allowed to actually contest Today, in certain countries now, it is against the law to have a DNA test to see whether or not that child is yours. So we are in a matriarchal society at this time. Most people don't know that we've been operating in a matriarchal society. It's just that it's so subtle that we've become so conditioned, like the frog in that pot of water that is consistently getting boiling water higher and higher and higher.
Max, a question regarding
Speak into the mic, Sarah.
Hi. Okay, I'm sorry.
Introduce yourself to the great doctor.
Hi, Dr. Valentine. This is Sarah. I have a question.
Hello,
okay.
Sarah.
How you doing? I was really when I listen to you talk, a lot of it I think benefits more white women because like with the civil rights movement and everything, it really ultimately benefit the white female more than I believe the black female. And due to them working their way behind the scenes, it has caused forth this, this whole movement. And I think the black woman, even though we play a part of it, I think the main beneficiary of do you agree that the main beneficiary of the matriarchal whole system benefits the white woman in America?
Oh, by all means. In my book, I'm going to ask you this question. What was the main basis for the civil rights movement?
He's asking you.
Well, I believe that it has a lot to do with mainly the benefits. It was actually I'm sorry. It was actually a term that came out of the civil rights movement. A term that came out of the civil rights movement?
Mm-hmm. About how black people need help. Remember those two words?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action.
There you go.
Right.
I saw the AA, but I couldn't remember the word.
Affirmative action essentially ended up benefiting white women. You are correct.
Absolutely.
Because essentially, the black woman is a second-class citizen. The third-class citizen. But the problem being that because of the woman issue, women, no matter what color, have a fundamental connection to one another. And we may see white versus black based upon that, but they have a fundamental nature that is basic to them. The thing about the feminist movement is they weren't women. They were entitled women who essentially were not only manic and psychologically ill. One of the matrons of it was psychologically ill. The other one was a homosexual, a lesbian, and she essentially worked for the CIA. So
Gloria
these
Steinem?
are not women.
Is that what we're talking about? Gloria Steinem?
Steinem.
Okay, cool.
Indeed. Gloria Steinem. And, of course, you had Audre Lorde, herself homosexual. And you're talking about Angela Davis, herself a homosexual. So you have to deal with the fact that these were not women fighting for women's issues. They were sexually female, but they were searching for power, not equality. That's the difference in feminism. Feminism wants power, not equality. In fact, they have left the true gynic feminine woman in the lurch.
Do you think that is one and the same?
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. This is Sherelle. Hi, Dr. Valentine.
AKA weekdays.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So my question for you is, do you feel feminism and the rise of the matriarchy is to the detriment of society? And
yes.
Indeed. Okay, then do you feel that there should be a revert back to where women typically play a certain role where it's either beneath her husband or secondary to the husband, or how do you correct?
Mm-hmm. Indeed. This is not to be corrected. This is to be completely demolished and destroyed. The society as it has been structured is a terminal one, number one. Let me let you understand what's going on between patriarchy and matriarchy. You have to understand that these are energies, and they have been defined and given terms, and they have been given an onus and a direction. They have an end purpose. Anything that has the word arc means that this is something over another. That's not what we are about. So we can't say matriarch and patriarchy because we're falling into the Europeans' rubric of social consciousness. That's not us. So these are Eurocentric sociocultural concepts that gave context and solidity to the times that signify the rise, expansion, decline, and subsequent fall of great civilizations. The so-called unregulated part that we spoke about that you know of this process is the decline of the masculine expansion energy, triggering the rise of the female expansion, which cosmically signals, listen carefully, this cosmically signals the entropic stages in relationships between the yin and yang, masculine and feminine, i.e. men and women, all of which is the precursor to the fall of that civilization. This has been repeated again and again and again throughout the ages, the 5 root races of men. Let me just give you this particular understanding. When you're dealing with the rise of a civilization, it is the masculine principle that is the expansive one. The masculine principle is the one that expands. It is the one that is scientifically creative. It is the one that expands borders, that selects borders so that within that particular structure, women now flourish. They then build the infrastructure. They are the inner society. The man is the outer society. And the two work together in balance with one another. But this is something that I've also mentioned in my book, The Wounded Womb. If you wish, I can send you my email, the site to which you can purchase the book. And
please tell them the site right now. Yes, please tell them the site.
You.
Because there are a whole lot of people listening, Doc. Please tell them all of your connective points.
Okay, they have to go to Lulu, www.lulu.com /content, CONTENT, another / 216-6333. Again, lulu.com /content /216-6333. That should put you right into the purchase page. And if you all have purchased it and read the book, please be so kind as to leave, a good word there, because the Mus is my publisher. It's called a print on demand. In other words, when you purchase the book, they print a fresh hardcover book for you. Okay? They don't keep any inventory, so you have to get for a couple of weeks to get it.
Right.
But anyway, as I was saying, there's a saying that I have in my book: we as men have invented ourselves into obsolescence.
We've done what?
We have invented ourselves into obsolescence.
Oh yeah.
In other words, listen carefully. We are the ones that the scientific. All of this society, you can look around you, everything, that the mic in front of you, the electronics that you're using, the society, the structure, the building, men built this. And to minimize that great feat, and especially when you talk about us as captives, I don't like to use the word slave, but as captives, coerced and forced into labor. We ourselves essentially built this. Men essentially build it. Women support that structure that men have built. Today, they want to rule the structure, take over the structure, but you notice that there is an atrophy. When women run societies, it becomes more agrarian. It's more agricultural. It's more in the communal basis, and they don't have that scientific purpose to go out and be curious and to lessen the work and to make it more efficient. We have made women's work so efficient that they no longer have anything to do in the very place that they're supposed to be nurturing to build an inner society. Now they're out and about, challenging men for the very things that men need, the very work that men need to build families. Men build families, not women.
Doctor,
men build structures.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Male build structures.
Dr. Phil, Phil Valentine, one of our last roundtable panel members wants to ask you a question. Her name is Mimi.
Hi, Doc. How are
Mimi.
you? Yes, my name is.
Well, Mimi, how are you?
I am great. And you know what? I was sitting here and I was just thinking, how do we move forward? I mean, you've said a lot of information. People around the world are listening. I'm listening. And I'm thinking, how can we make a difference? How can we go out into our communities, or how can we each one teach one, or how can we put on our boots and do something different? How can we start with ourselves?
Doc, she's Pisces. She's like, oh my God, come on now.
Okay. All right.
What can we do,
I've proved my point. I've proved my point, and I'm going to show you something right now. Women constantly see there's workshops. That's why there's workshops for breastfeeding, workshops for this, and workshops to do this, You seek information. Women are information gatherers, just like they are gatherers. Men are hunters. Because of that, you want immediate satisfaction. Women are right now. Women must have it now. The baby needs food. Go out and get food. I need it right now to feed the family. Men are long-term thinkers. They're the ones who structure plans for the future. This is why you need to have an answer before you understand the problem, which is why the Wounded Womb has elaborated upon all of the vicissitudes and problems that we face as a society, and you particularly as women. You have to understand the problem, the nature of it, and understand the inner workings of the problem to understand what this symptom is that takes place in the womb and in the family structure. So yes, I could get right into you and start telling you, hey, this is what you got to do. But that's not what this is about, because immediately you begin to put things into play for now, when you need to understand when something changes and you don't have the full understanding of the nature of the problem. Then when the problem takes a whole other expression, you don't know what to do. So when I speak from a place where I give you all the variables of what the solution is, or what the problem is first, before we even speak about solutions. Because if I give you solutions to understanding what a problem is in the immediacy, what will you do in the long run when the problem takes shapes? It's a chameleon. Problems are chameleons.
Wow. Amen. I don't know if you heard that. They are. That was problems are chameleons. Right. First off, let me just say this, Dr. Valentine. You can't keep dropping so much knowledge and then, sometimes you got to come up for a little breath of air after that. You hit us upside the head. Problems are chameleons. Let that marinate a taste.
Right. Digesting that right now.
Now, the good doc said something that I think is very important that I wanted to add on really quickly. In the Hindu culture, they have these ages, and I know the doc is way more versed in it than I am. They have these ages. You have, there's the Cali Yuga. They call the ages yugas, right? Mm-hmm. You have Kali Yuga. You have the Satya Yuga. Satya is their Sanskrit word for truth, right? Mm-hmm. And they come in a certain order. You have the Satya is the first, the Trita Yuga is the second. What is that? The Vapara Yuga is the third.
It's Vapara Yuga, yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then the Kali Yuga is the final.
And then Kali Yuga. Mm-hmm. The 4 stages.
Now,
the building stage and the destructive stage.
Exactly. Kali Yuga is the destructive stage. Mm-hmm. And Kali is a woman. Mm-hmm. Do you see our society is now inverted from the way it was, because this is a reckoning, a cleansing, a clearing. You got to remember, destruction is creation, right? It's just a different form of it. And now women are taking this lead here in the world because it's time to kind of hit the reset button on the world. That's what's happening. Doc, can you go more into this codified information?
Indeed, I would love to. Kali and Sekhmet are the same.
Sekhmet, for the ladies in the room here, Sekhmet is the Kemetan
cat.
Yes,
Commission cat goddess.
She's a cat goddess. Just think Catwoman. Think Halle Berry.
I hate cats.
In the cat suit.
I'm a dog girl.
And
They made a movie
think about
about
the Black Panther too.
Yeah, think about
Because
Black
he
Panther.
mentioned it in Black Panther too. Yeah, he mentioned it in there too. Well, Kali, actually, if you look at the concept Kali, it's a Sanskrit. It means she who is black.
She who is black.
That's right. She who is the white. She comes from the blackness and brings us to the blackness. The reason for that is the beginning of beginnings, to start over again. She's also known as the one who is the harbinger of death. Okay? She's also known as, let me see, she had other names. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Kaushika, I believe her name was as well. Chinnamasta, her name was also. Chitabruja, I believe, was her name as well. And she was born from the goddess Durga. Okay, this Durga had all these arms, and she was a warrior. And she was born during the battle that Durga had with this bull, which of course you know is dealing with the goddess Heteru. And what you're dealing with is this battle that Durga was having with this bull or this buffalo. They call him the buffalo demon. I think his name was Mahisha. And she got so angry that the front of her head exploded, and Kali was born. I mean, these are the myths, of course.
Now, but wait, Doc, let me slow you down because you should see. Did I see somebody send Doc the video? Because this is a live video. People are on my chat right. Listen, this is being broadcast to my YouTube channel. We have over 45,000 subscribers. People are in here listening and watching right now. You should see the look on their face. Now, let me just say this real quick, Doc, because you hitting them hard. I mean, hard. Now, most of these girls in here, Jesus on the mainland. So, Doc, you got to bring it down a little bit and then bring it back up one more time. Yeah.
All right. If y'all want to go to the Jesus myth, I would love to do that if that's more comfortable for you.
You heard what he said. He said the Jesus myth. Don't interrupt him. She said myth. Yes, he said the Jesus myth. Now, you're going to have to embrace this lesson while you're here this evening. Is your mind open?
My mind's very open. I just have a question.
Sarah, is your mind open?
Yeah.
You got to speak on the mic.
Yes, it is open.
Okay. Weekdays, is your mind open?
Oh, it is.
Here's the most close. Okay, so Sarah's Virgo. Weekdays is Libra. Here's the closed one. Scorpio.
My wife.
Peaches. Come on, Peaches.
Your wife is a Scorpio?
Yes.
Oh, she just.
Why you say it like that? He said, yes.
And wait a minute. And he's happy. He's happy.
He said, yes. I heard some disdain there.
Oh, no.
No, he loves his wife. Come on.
Are you kidding?
I'm just kidding.
No. The Scorpio is the scorpion, which poisons itself. It can poison itself with its own ego. It is also the eagle that soars high and has very high perspectives, very sexual. And the beauty of Scorpio is that she is also, and he is also, the phoenix.
The phoenix.
He rises and she rises outside of her own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what is the Virgo?
No, don't get sidetracked. We still got Mimi. And then Mimi is the Pisces.
Hey.
All right. So here we go. Doc, these women, in my opinion, you know you can't. You know how the Kabbalion says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Now, I'm not trying to make these women change their beliefs. I'm not. If you Christian, that's the school you're in at this moment. However, there are no accidents in the universe. This is one of the busiest men on the planet Earth. And for me to just call him a few hours ago and say, hey, can you do my show? Oh, well, by the way, I am free. Come on now.
No, it's because I got love for my brother.
There we go.
Right. Yes.
So I brought this brother on because I wanted him to share some information. This is not an attempt to make you change your beliefs. I just want you to hear a wider, broader perspective. Are you open, Peaches?
I am open.
Now, I'm going to know if you open or not when he starts saying something and then you try to jump in. I'm going to know.
I'm open at this moment. Is that better?
Okay. Listen.
Go right ahead.
No, I'm wide open. I'm all ears.
I'm going to need you to listen to him.
I will absorb.
Okay,
King
so
Zo.
they're Christian. They need to hear this, what you're saying, in context of Christianity. There's a reason why the Abrahamic religions suppressed the divine feminine.
Can I just say one
Of course.
I'm not a Christian. You keep referring to me as a Christian. I believe.
You see what happened to you, Mike? I just turned it off.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God.
See, because I'm not finna tolerate your bullshit up in here now. You are a Christian. You fought me last Friday, tooth and nail, and now that I got the good doctor in here, you want to backtrack. There ain't no moonwalking.
I love Jesus. I'm just not a Christian. I love Black Jesus. I'm just not a Christian.
That mic's still off. Can't nobody hear you.
Tell him what I
Now, they need it in
I know
context.
she's here.
They need it in context to their belief. So, Doc, I'm finna step out your way. If you guys have questions for the Doc, let me know. I'll interrupt for you and let Doc know that you have a question. Okay? All right. So, Doc, in context of Christianity, help them see this story.
Well, I heard Peaches loves her Black Jesus, and I give all respect to her beliefs and her the way she shows her love. But as I was kind of putting a little context to Cali versus Sekhmet to show the similarity when Cali was born, and again we're dealing with the end of an age, the end of a time. When Cali was born, she was born to fight demons, and the demons were actually all that represents the ending of the structure of expansion. The expansive energy is coming to an end, and what that does is begins to start a lot of corrosive, where expansion now becomes belligerent, it becomes oppressive. That's when Kali energy begins to step in, and people begin to resist. And in that resistance, there's belligerence and so forth. And these are the different demons that we are speaking about that comes up as a result of the Kali age now coming into prominence. So what happens is, in the legend, after Durga gave birth to the forehead, through her forehead to the form of Kali, Kali went, for want of a better word, ape shit. And she started just killing. She was just doing bloody attacks. She was taking out all supposedly wrongdoers and all the demons. And that's why you see her with a necklace of heads and many arms with blood dripping from her and so forth. Well, this is the same story in kind, because you're dealing with, of course, the Indus Kush people that were over to the east, and then you're dealing with the Kemetic, which are the Indus Kush, which from Ethiopia. When I say Kush, I mean Ethiopia or Abyssinia. And under Kemet, the Sekhmetian legend saw Amen, or actually Ra, creating Sekhmet, because they were the people who were unfaithful, the people who went against the sciences of life, went against all things representative of balance. And so when Sekhmet was created, she just began killing everything bad. But then when she ran out of killing everybody bad, she started turning on eating and killing the good. That's when Ra stepped in and turned her into Heteru. Heteru then in the Yoruba and the Akan is Ochun, the one of love and perfection and beauty.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So from that particular principle, you begin to see the taming of the shrew. So when you understand the type of energies that come into balance, it's the masculine principle. When it brings balance in its expansion, then the feminine comes into balance. The same way that the way Kali was stopped was when Lord Shiva was called, because all the gods couldn't stop Kali. She was just tearing everything up. So Shiva came down and laid before her in her path of destruction. And when she stepped on him and saw who she stepped on, all of a sudden her rage left her and balance was returned once again. Now, I'm saying all of this because in the age of Cali, when we're speaking about men coming into their own and into their own prominence using the true power, I'm talking benevolent power, not oppressive power, not the one that is being exercised by police and people, men who are out of their own minds and don't understand how to use their power. And when you said that again, you said something about secondary power. That is the true stage of balance within a family and a community. Now, men have primary power.
Now,
women have secondary power.
Now, let me jump in really quickly because I want to ask weekdays what you was talking about. Because they not listening, Doc.
I'm listening.
They on the phone.
I'm listening.
When I tell you, brother, this scares them.
No, I'm listening. My phone is right here, but I'm listening.
Do you guys?
But I'm not on it.
You do know Christianity as a belief system comes from ancient belief systems. It didn't just pop up originally. The first version of it didn't just show up at the Nicene Council. It's a compilation of cultures. Am I lying, Doc?
16 different crucified saviors existed before Jesus.
But
go ahead.
But I actually have two questions. But my question is that even if being a Christian or whatever, or believing about Jesus and everything is far fetched, but then I'm supposed to believe about a woman coming out of somebody's head.
Right.
No, Jesus walking the earth, right? Turning water into wine. That's terrible, but not okay.
Yeah.
No, listen. See, that's the thing that when people say that spiritual thought and philosophy was not meant by women, was not created by women. Women do not deal in abstract thinking.
Listen to what he's saying.
Men deal in abstract thought. So when we start speaking of myth and legend and dealing in certain story forms that take on symbology here and the epistemology there, when you're dealing with language and the use of language and myth is to transport you out of what is known as the temporal time. Temporal time is the time that we keep, the time that makes us know that there's day and night, that there's seasons, 4 seasons. This is temporal time. This is the temporal space, what we call third density. Transtemporal thinking is what myth is. Myth is the story that the spirit tells of its own experience while in the body. And the spirit speaks through the body about its own experience in third density. That's what myth is. It is using symbolism in order to impart deeper thought that you couldn't actually understand or overstand at its face value.
Now, Doc.
So the reason...
Doc, let me just jump in real quick because he making such a powerful point and I don't want it to be lost on you guys. What he's saying is, in layman's term, because Doc is very eloquent and articulate. What he's saying in layman's term, certain spiritual experiences can't be brought into words. So they use metaphor, allegories, and different writing techniques in order to paint a particular kind of picture. You can't really bring it all into a literary form. Like for instance, and Doc knows this too. The Hebrew word for soul, or ruhu, or that's Arabic, and ruach it just means wind. When you get down to it, it's just wind. But it's trying to convey spirit or soul. And even that's not enough. You get what I'm saying? Like, ruach or ruhu, as the Muslim would say, ruhu, the soul of Allah. They don't know it's a wind.
In church,
you get what I'm saying?
It means, like I said, breath of God.
But that's not enough for the actual experience of a soul. So words, linguistics, it's all limited. This is why, and the doc, you can help me with this. The Masons use symbology. They use symbols like, the plumb line or the compass, or they're using that to convey something maybe words can't. Doc, can you finish?
The Most High creates in mathematical abstracts that man, through being the folded over image of God, man is the avatar of God. And as such, man is the processor of all experiences in third density. Man is the feedback mechanism for God, because God cannot know itself being all things, all knowing. So what does man do? Man acts as the avatar, the feedback mechanism to God's own experience of itself. As such, we, in our contemplating of our reality and our experience within flesh, we are essentially, mathematically, and what I call ma'at hemetics, that's where mathematics comes from. Ma'at hemetics essentially is to bring balance between spirit and matter. Matter is the feminine, spirit is the masculine. And in such that marriage through the breath that sustains the spirit within the physical form, that this vehicle now becomes the process of experience. We then explore. We penetrate that darkness to bring light to it. In fact, our job as avatars of the Creator is to spiritualize matter.
Listen to
so
this. Listen, ladies. Spiritualize matter.
What can you explain?
You want him to explain what it means to spiritualize matter? Go ahead, Doc.
Well, see, what it is matter and spirit are the same. They're just at different ends of the polarity spectrum. Matter is more dense. Matter is a agreement at a particular stage of consciousness development. And I don't want to take you too far. This is what our school is for. In fact, we're beginning our next semester next week, Saturday. If you're interested, you can get in contact with us at 800-847-1291. That's 847-1291. 800 is the area code. If you wish to go up online at our university's website, you can go to www.u as in United, K as in King, S as in Science, NOW.org.
Now,
and if you're interested,
finish,
if
brother.
you're interested in knowing what it is that others have experienced, just click the testimonial page, read through the testimonials. We've had our students include, and I won't name people, professors from MIT, people working at NASA. We've had students from professional basketball, professional football players. We've had professional musicians. We've had housewives. We've had truck drivers. We have a vast spectrum of brothers and sisters who've come to our school, not to learn how to get a job, but how to finish the task of their responsibility to be that avatar of the Creator, to know more about themselves and what their true task has been here, not to just get a job or to learn from another nonsense. But go right ahead, brother.
Now, he's not talking about them blue people in that movie when he says avatar.
I know. I listen to that.
I need y'all to understand.
Yeah.
Well, the blue people were us. That's what Cameron said.
Right. Now, let me tell you why this is important. Why I brought this brother on. This is important. The woman and her consciousness, her spiritual awareness is powerful. So whoever controls what she believes in controls that power.
Come on.
You understand? The man said you're an avatar of God. What? Okay, Sanskrit, avatar, avatara. It means the divine descent into a body. That's Jesus, if you believe in Christianity, right? Come on. You get what I'm saying? So you find avatars in all the religious beliefs. The Muslim will say, Illa mutajased. Jased is the perfected body. Illa, Allah mutajased. Allah in the body. Again, we are all avatars of God. Hold on, pimp. Let me finish. You understand? The reason why this is important is because there's an all-out war for what you think. Because we live in an intention-based reality. If I can control the currency of your thought, I can control what you create with it. That's why I'm saying, what, y'all still believe that? No judgment, but guess what? It's 2019. And if they using your ancient science and you have no idea, we got to get you some bucks. We got to get you in conversation that stretch what you believe to be true.
So,
yes, jump in here.
This. Next week, next month, next year, in fact, what year is it going to be next year?
2020.
What is the vision of clarity that the man says?
2020, they can't see, Doc. Come on, Doc.
They're about to see, son. They're about to see. They're about to see.
Oh, God. Listen, that's why this is not saying, there's no judgment. Please understand, the European is brilliant. He's done this for thousands of years. Oh, the ancient African, whatever we did, he said, okay, I'm going to do a version of that.
He had a good teacher.
I'm going to remix what they did. Oh, you got Amun-Ra? We got Zeus. Oh, you got Obatala? We got Jupiter. We gonna remix everything you do. So again, when you're a captured people, you have to remember being a captured people doesn't limit itself to physical capturing. It is the mental, spiritual, and psychological capturing that keeps you a slave without shackles. So again, the number one sign of intelligence is questioning. And that's the one thing you can't do in the three Abrahamic religions. You can't question nobody. You can't question the imam, the rabboni, the rabbi, the pastor, God. You can't question nobody. And if you do, get in there and start asking some real goddamn questions.
True.
Get in there and ask some real questions. They're going to be like, wait a minute, what do you want to know?
No, they'll say like in They Live, we have one that can see.
Talk about it, Doc.
This is the thing. What you said is right on point, because in religion, there is a reverse psychology going on. Here's what the secret is. If God is the answer, what is the question?
Ooh. This ain't rhetorical. Please, everybody try to answer it. Sarah, go ahead. What did he answer his question?
What? Wait, if God is...
Ask the question.
God is the answer, then what is the question?
If God is the answer, what is the question?
The question is what? Where?
No.
How were we created?
No.
This is listen
no,
and hear me, ladies.
It's very simple.
Wait, Doc. Before you go further, because I'm gonna come to everybody. Before you go further, please understand, this is a conversation with grown-ups. Mm-hmm. There's no judgment. There's no condescension. There's no conversion. Be what you are. Be what you are. Believe what you want. Embrace where you are. I got love for wherever the fuck you are, because wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But that don't mean you can't engage in a serious conversation about where you are.
I love God. I love the concept on God in which I grew up believing, and I believe that I have a personal relationship with. And it's something that I don't believe that it's something that can even come into question. Good. Especially when you have a relationship.
Good. So we're just having a conversation. Now, weekdays, can you answer his question? If God is the answer, What is the question? I love Weekdays' face. Let me tell you,
God is the
Weekdays.
answer for what? Though, I mean, that's a subscription of belief. Not everyone believes in God.
Oh, okay. Then let me just say this. You said, Zoe said something very, very, very pertinent about your ability to question in religions and why I was saying that they've reversed the polarity on you. Know this. If God is the answer, man is the question. Understand this very carefully. When man forms the impeccable question, God has to answer. Because if there is nothing that is outside, if there is nothing outside the rubric of that which we call the Creator, then all answers are within the structure of man's understanding. If man's understanding becomes expansive enough to come close to what the Creator may be by questioning himself, herself. So learn to form the impeccable question, and all your answers will be forthcoming. Understand this. The problem is that the church does not allow you to question. The church gives you tenets and edicts for controlling that particular gift that you have been given by your Creator, to question, because your answers you're the feedback. Your questions are answered. When answered, or when come closer to the answer, becomes the feedback mechanism to the Creator itself. Why else would the Creator have created? If the Creator is all perfect, and I say this about Adam and Eve, the reason why Adam couldn't stay in the garden was because the garden was perfect, and perfection equals death in the physical form. Perfection, if the physical form has nothing to do, has nothing to aspire to, the physical form dies. So Adam had to be kicked out of the garden. And the serpent was the first redeemer of man. Because you say Lucifer was the redeemer, was the one cast out of heaven. Lucifer and man are the same. Lucifer was the first one to challenge authority, to ask, what am I, and why now? Why is it that I cannot do this? You gave me this ability. And I'm not saying go worshiping Lucifer. I'm just saying look at the story from a different perspective than what the priestcraft have given you as the reasons behind the reality that we know as God. Listen carefully to what it is that the Garden of Eden represented. The Garden of Eden was perfection. It was the first stages of God's reflection of itself. Now, you understand and understand that when that particular atom, which is the atom, which is the first atom, which is the hydrogen atom, that is Eden. Because from everything else, that one hydrogen atom dovetails into all that we see as material life. So if we deal with the atom or the atom, we're dealing with Adam, essentially, and Eve was not a woman. Eve was a time. Eve was at the eve or at the beginning or at the ending of a particular cycle.
Wait, stop, Doc.
So Adam,
hold on, Doc. Hold on. Because when they face start drooping and they start, look at them holding their head. I see sweat beads. Makeup is running. Hold on. Hold on. See, they've never heard this before. You see, you've been taught to accept the book as literal. It is not a literal work. It is a coded work. Let me just give you one quick code. Doc knows this. Enoch. What does the word Enoch means?
Is that the one that walked with God until he was no more?
That's the one that God took to heaven.
What does his name mean? Because first you got to understand every name in the Bible represents a title. It's not a name. It's a title. Yeah. What? Oh, you didn't know that?
One that walked. No. I was thinking about the name.
So take Enoch. Right? What does Enoch mean? If you look up his name, what does it mean? Look it up. You'll see.
Walk with God? Or?
The man didn't die.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He just walked into heaven. How old did he live?
Eternally. To be? He has eternal life.
365 years. 365 days is a year. Enoch, equinox, equal night. But you don't know that they're talking about time, but you think they're talking about a man. And then Reverend Rib Shack with the barbecue sauce on the tip of his fingers, he not going to tell you this. You know why he's not going to tell you this? Because that fuck with his pocket.
Indeed.
Again, these women in here believe that faith and belief is the same thing, and it's not. It's not.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
So, I believe in the Bible being a mathematical piece. I mean, I know it's coded, okay? I don't disagree with that part because there are Bible codes that are coming to fruition right now with what's going on in our country, what's going on with our government and everything. So, with that said, I want to get back to Eve being the evening. Why can't it be a literal person? If you don't believe that we were in the garden and it was a white man taking the word that we had in Egypt and mixing it up, how come you believe that Eve is an evening and not an actual person, in the garden?
Yes, because the English language can take on 50 different pieces of meaning. That's the reason why when you see at the beginning of a movie, when the FBI warning about you taking a movie or you pirating a movie, they give it to you in English and French. The reason why they give it to you in French is because that word, those words as written in French, have no other meaning but those words. So when you're looking at the English language, it's what's known as a lawyer's language. That's why they have so many different types of dictionaries. The reason for that is because the English language is a commercial language. It's meant to deal with commercialism. It's meant to deal with business. It's meant to deal with economy. So it's for trade. It's just the way that what's the name of that language that we speak that they speak in North Africa? It's when they deal with the traders' language.
The Berbers.
Yeah, not the Berbers, but it'll come to me later on.
Bedouins?
Well, I would say, no, the Bedouin. It's a language. It's a...
you talking about Arabic?
It'll come to me.
Farsi?
No, not Arabic. It's from the Arabic, but it's mixed with Arabic. I can't remember it right now. It's a merchant language, and it's spoken. It's what you have to learn to speak. It's the common language that is taught to our children today in order to be able to speak, because everybody speaks it. Like English is the language of commerce for the Western Hemisphere. This language is the language of Africa for commerce. And I'll get to that. It'll come back to me. But I wanted to talk to Peaches for a minute.
There she is.
To speak to her for just a second, to let her know that in the study of the Bible, you have to understand that the book is a scientific book that spoke about so many different things, so many different civilizations and the sciences that they all were kind of compacted in the bowels of Rome at the time when they were creating their first Bible and masking it in Latin. It wasn't until the Vulgate that they began converting it into the language of the people, which is where the word vulgar comes from. So when I speak to you about the fact that the language in the Bible have so many meanings, for instance, people think that Psalms was written by David, and it was not. It was written by Akhenaten. So most people don't understand that that all of what you see in the Bible, for instance, Exodus never really happened. What did happen was that Akhenaten was kicked out of Armana because he let ancient Kemet go to hell for his new religion, which is the religion of Aten. He shut down all the temples, which is like shutting down the Senate and the House of Representatives, and Kemet began to go into chaos, which is why Horemheb and Ramesu the generals took over. It was almost like the Romans, where the Romans got there from, when they would bequeath the power to the military.
Swahili.
And let the sea take over.
I'm sorry, Doc. Swahili.
Very good.
There we
That's
go.
The one.
I had to dig it out.
Right.
It was in my head.
Right. Very good. So what I wanted to say to you is that the beginning and the ending of the Bible essentially is the opening and the closing out. I state in my interpretation, because the European has taken these stories that we've given, and it is the application and, like the brother said, intention of how this knowledge is used. Is it used for control, suppression, and evil, what we call evil, or for the detriment of man, or is it used for the upliftment of man? So when we speak about Lucifer, which the word comes from the word lucid or lucy or loose, which means light, we have this tendency to believe that somehow he was bad when he was cast out of heaven.
I got to stop you. Hold that point on Lucifer, Lucy, light. Hold that.
The angel of light.
Hold that. Get your ass on the mic, Peaches.
Mm-hmm.
Because you fucking up.
All I did was roll my eyes when he said that part.
Let me tell you right now, ain't going to be no goddamn eye rolling.
Well,
I know you hearing some shit you don't like, but ain't going to be no eye rolling.
Peaches, do you have your Bible with you?
No, but I got my app on my phone.
And she got her, and she got that smirk on her face. Now take it off.
That's all right. I love the smirk. No,
I can't take it off right
so
now.
She got it. My wife, when I first met my wife, who's a Scorpio, when I told her that Christ is a myth and was nothing more than Heru and a warmed over knockoff of Heru, she, her face, the jaws got tight.
I said it last week. They got mad at me last week, Doc. I said the same thing last week. They got mad at me.
Well, that's all right. That's fine. That's good. This is a challenge to us as men. We have to be able to have the patience to be able to give that particular insight. Now, I ask you, turn to Revelation 22 and 16. I almost got kicked out of to Philadelphia for actually doing this back in 1985. Now, everybody is told as Christians that they should take the Bible literally. Is that right, Peaches?
I wasn't told that, but yeah, most people are taught that.
Most people are taught what?
Well, you understand what I'm saying to you.
Well, my mother taught me it was figurative and literal.
Figurative?
Yes, indeed. But I mean, the English language should be very clear.
But each
so if you turn to Revelations 22 and 16.
So while she's doing that, Mimi, you had a comment?
I was just going to say, when you go to churches or anywhere, someone can take the same passage and find something different that they find in that passage. Because like you said, it's coded. Yes. So everyone's interpretation is not the same of the passage. Some pastors or some people don't even dig into the meat of it. And others will find things to have you reflect, learn, and grow. So I think it's all about who the preacher and who the teacher is and who is getting the information. Because we can read all types of things, but it's all about what you digest. Because there's 1,000 books. And we can say this one is right, that one's right. We don't, you know what I'm saying? It's about the digestive, I think, of it, because everyone sees things, I think, differently through their own eyes and scope.
That was Mimi, so you know.
Let me say this, beloved. If you have a plate of food, would you be able to identify if they have peas, rice, if they have, if you're eating meat, or if you have a side order of fries? Would you be able to identify them and call them what they are?
I would, but the Bible is coded, so it's not the same as a plate of food.
No. I mean, I'm saying this. I understand that. But there are words in the Bible that should be taken for exactly what they mean.
Well, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. So, now, what is another name for Lucifer?
A Beelzebub.
That's somebody else.
Well, Lucifer, you have the serpent, the dragon. I mean, he got a bunch of names.
Yeah, right. But what is the name that he is most known for?
The devil.
The devil. Satan, the devil.
No, Satan. Satan is the devil. Lucifer and Satan are not the same person. Or same person.
They cousins or something?
They identical twins.
But this is what I want y'all to hear. He's explaining.
Listen to me.
Now here we go.
Listen to me. What I'm doing now is placing words against a wall of indoctrination, and it's very difficult for you, and I understand that. And as a teacher, it's for me to help you to see another way to look at it. In fact, metaphysics, as I teach it, is to re-language reality, because you are struck and stuck in a language-based, brick by brick, language has built your wall behind which you are now constrained to only a limited understanding of what is real.
Oh.
So what it is me trying to show you that language has different interpretations, and you've been constrained to only one, maybe two.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that in Revelation 22,
she got the
can
scripture.
You read that passage.
I have.
Can you read that passage for me? Right.
I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and bright and morning star.
Oh, Jesus called himself the morning star? Okay, cool. Go ahead, Doc.
Okay. So now, one of the other names for Lucifer is the morning star.
But he was the angel of light.
Girl, be quiet.
So what is Jesus, the angel of darkness?
Exactly.
No.
How they got the same name?
So wait. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I said to you at the beginning that Lucifer, in the form of a snake, which is really God, actually talking to himself because it's his own creation. Understand that this is ridiculous to us to even believe that God has created something greater than his own creation to make and tempt people. Listen to this. This is common sense. Why do we think that Lucifer is greater than God and somehow he has the power over God and God's creation, unless it is man that makes the interpretation of his own actions and then takes them? Listen to what I'm saying to you. I said that Lucifer, in the form of the snake, through the woman, which is the one that becomes the fertile, she's the one that gives birth to the Eve or the time. So you understand, turning the words around to have a greater context and meaning. Lucifer is the first redeemer because he redeemed man from his perfection in the static place called perfected garden, the Garden of Eden. Once Adam was kicked out of the garden, Eve stayed. And Adam found another wife in the land of where? Nod. In other words, he came out of his perfection and went into the process of perfecting, which is the true perfection in the realm of matter. You are consistently perfecting yourself. You are consistently in the constant stages of perfecting yourself. Now, Jesus came back to redeem you from your imperfection.
Okay, Doc.
Listen, Doc. So let me just say that knowledge, the information that was just delivered, is like an Empire State Building sized slice of cheesecake. They can't eat it all. They can't,
I want a bite.
I'm hungry too.
I just want a bite of it. Okay, I want a bite of Junior's cheesecake.
No berries on it.
I'm gonna knock it out your hand. No, I'm just playing.
Now, Doc, let me just ask you. Okay,
but they got questions. They want to be able to question you, Doc.
Okay, so Eve stayed in the garden and Adam left the garden and went into Nod and found another wife. Mm-hmm. So who is Lilith then in this whole situation? Because if God's playing a sick game with Adam and Eve in the garden, playing like he's a snake, is that what you're saying? Like to tempt the woman? Because the woman did spawn evil out of her seed. One is good, one is bad. Of the children, it's always the younger one that's the good one.
You're talking too much. That ain't no goddamn question.
Well, again, you're dealing with...
You got me confused right now.
But it's not confusion. It's essentially a bringing a light to a whole other reality that has not been familiarized yet. Understand what I'm saying to you. I can't get deeper into it because it takes a lot for you to understand, actually, not overstand, but to understand what it is I'm coming from. I'm coming from a place of parity, coming from a place of understanding the abstraction that is necessary for you to understand the language of God. You can see that God didn't write no Bible. Ain't no God come down to write a Bible like everybody said. God gave us the word to inspire men. Men are faulty. Men can only interpret based upon the length or the breadth of what they can encompass of understanding so that they can relay the word. And we do see that most of the Bible is nothing more than universal truth. So you can actually put universal truth into any tongue, any language, any culture, and they would agree with it. It is when the priestcraft begin to take that universal truth and then in a cauldron of deceit and in a cauldron of control for them to use it in the form, to take that very simple language and to use it as a method of control. So when I say to you that Jesus was the son of what?
God.
What is you?
Son of God?
No.
Jesus is
No.
the begotten. He's himself. He's God.
What is his What is his title? He was the son of.
He was the son of man.
Son of man.
Son of man.
The son of man.
He got excited.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you, beloved. Jesus is the son of man. They make him the son of God, which is essentially you. But the son of man is a mindset. He is the son of man, which is the S-U-N, which is enlightenment in man. He is the Christed one. The Christed one means he is the one anointed.
Whoop.
So the anointing of you inside, and I'm only giving you these terminologies because this is your language. They have not been giving you the proper interpretation so that you can free yourself from religion. Religio, which means to bind. You're being bound to a creed, to a tenet, not to yourself, not to the higher self. You're not being bound to that thing that frees you. You are being bound to that thing that enslaves you.
Doc, let me jump in real quick. Mimi says, let me just do this real quick. Mimi says, not me. I ain't bound to nothing. Hell no. No, but he's teaching.
But no, and I'm learning. I'm listening. But I know I'm not bound to nothing.
And let me say this, and then because I know the ladies got questions. Let me just say this real quick. The man is giving you different terms.
Yes, he is.
Right? And you can go look these up yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see. If you start looking up the language that the scriptures were written in, and then you start following it word for word, you'll see how it's homogenized, remixed, repasteurized. Preservatives are added in. You understand what I'm saying? You'll see that because there's an agenda in what they're trying to teach you. And remember, I've already said this. If God is in you, why do you need to select a religion? You don't. Listen to hear me. Everything in this obsolescent world is based on selection.
Right.
I choose to do this. I choose to do that. But as with all things that break down over time, you either get caught in a rut with it or you grow up out of it. And one of the most difficult things to grow up out of is psychological traditions, whether they be religious, psychological, spiritual. This is my belief. All that is hard to grow up out of that if you're not constantly challenging it. You understand? That is the questioning. That is the crux of intelligent development. If you wake up every day and go, thank you, Jesus, for waking me up, and you don't question that concept, you got to question it. You have to. Who am I thanking? For what? Did I wake up? Did they wake me up? Is there an angel here? Are angels real? Why am I accepting these beliefs? Do you get what I'm saying? You have to question it all. And then you got to study every single word of it to see how it's being translated. If the translation is a cultural and social manipulation, you got to find out. If I'm a Christian, I want to know, why does the devil and Jesus share the same name? Why they got the same title? Why they both the morning sun? What the fuck is going on? I want to know that. Right? Right? Don't y'all want to know that?
I have a question.
Weekdays, do you want to know it? I hope the doc ain't watching this video with your fangs. Cover them up. But you got buttons. They work.
Don't be so hard on them, though.
Thank you so much, Dr. Valentine. You're amazing.
You can't even see it from this angle, just for the record.
You better hope Doc is not watching this video. But no.
He is, because they probably would have got a lot better had he seen them. But,
fuck is going on? We got a man of God on here, and you all unbuttoned.
And you all out here in these streets.
Just go and take your shirt off, girl, and jiggle them out.
I do not subscribe to your telling me to button up my shirt. Okay, so, Doctor, I do have a question. So, I'm going to rewind a little bit back to not only freeing yourself from religious ideology, but as well as freeing yourself from the patriarchy and the matriarchy. Would you please give examples of cultures or countries that are successfully living under this ideology? And if so, and they are doing this successfully, how do you feel they've been successful, and what actions do they implement in order to free their minds, their spirits, and themselves from like the destruction of the matriarchy or the patriarchy and religion?
Well, I don't say to destroy religion. I just say to destroy the rules that religion operates under, and that is rules of control, the manipulation of consent, what I call synchronizing synchronicities, preemptive consent in my classes. All matriarchal societies exist at the behest of the so-called patriarchy that has turned into a governmental structure of welfare. In other words, the government now supports these matriarchal places because essentially the matriarchal, for instance, I think there's matriarchal or systems where they're dealing with so-called suffragette situations now because in India, for instance, living under the Brahmin system and after being conquered for the last 1,400 years, have been living under a very oppressive Varna system which deals with the so-called untouchable system, which has really undermined the darker and the more richly melanated brothers and sisters from out of that Cushitic offshoot. And you have the Meghalaya, I believe, is the name of a from India, or the Kerala women have a structure that is matriarchal. And in Africa, the men, I think the men Ankabau, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. I know the Akan religion definitely is a matriarchal structure or matrilineal. Let's just say matrilineal because there's a difference between what we call matrilineal and matriarchy. Matrilineal, of course, represents the fertile, it's the carrying on of the passage of the lineage, say, of the land passes through the female line. And most people think, well, that made Africa, a matriarchy. No, it doesn't, because even though the land was bequeathed to the woman, she did not inherit the tools to work the land. That belonged to the man. So there was make sure that it was balance in it. She can have the land, but she cannot work the land without there being a partnership in there. So there was no matriarchy or patriarchy. It was nonsense. The matrilineal line is because our people understood that the mitochondria of the female contains what I call let's just say the Alexandrian library of our species. It is through her that the entire history of the race is passed through. There is another tribe, I believe, in Africa called the Bribri. They are also matrilineal, and I can't remember any others, but I do know that there are matrilineal lines, but it is the government that supports them, and that the government gives them the resources so that they can do that. And in India, of course, they have this system that was imposed after the Maghreb invasion from the north, from the Caucasus Mountains, that destroyed the great cities of Cali and Mohenjo-daro in India, and just destroyed that and put in a caste system that imitated what those indigenous peoples had created in this place. Like there was the artisans, the soldiers, the priests, the politicians. These were different castes in India at that time. And what they did was took over those castes and structured the Brahminic system, which is what you see those light-skinned, Caucasoid-looking people that are actually connected to the Khazarian and Ashkenazi people. In fact, the Brahmins are called the Jews of India. And it is their particular structure that the West borrowed for slavery, in the form of slavery. And it is from there that the West borrowed, say, for instance, the Brahmin or Brahma, Brahma. When you take the A off of it and put it in front, you have Abraham. So the Abrahamic religions were actually taken from that societal and cultural structure and then leached and pimped by those who came to structure the three Abrahamic religions. And of course, you knew that Abraham had a wife called Sarah, Brahma had a wife called Saraswati. Or Saraswati.
Do you see?
So,
hold on, Doc. Doc, bite size. Remember, bite size. They swimming in here. They swimming.
Well, they can listen to the tape. They'll listen to the tape and they'll be fine. They
swimming in here right now. Listen, and we'll come right back to you, Doc, because Weekdays had that question. You have another question?
Yeah. So then my question is, does this ideology actually work in first world countries? Because from what you're saying, it seems like you must require religion in order to brainwash the masses and keep people in a lesser place of life.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a good point. Excellent point.
Yes, give me some.
But that was a very good point. Usually the people who are the workers, the people who don't, have aspire to any type of, greater understanding, though they do have a regulatory set of habits that culture gives to them. Like farmers must farm, they must sow seeds, they must harvest and do things like that. So the gods or the structure of religion is essentially the structure of the habits and the propensities of culture. And the gods are actually named based upon what the environment says to those people who are nurturing and building in that environment. So, for instance, in Southern Africa, you had Ukulukulu. Well, if you look at the beauty of
Hold on, Doc. Peaches is a professional comedian. So you just said what you said, and she had to laugh.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all right, because the brothers that I know that are in, those brothers that are listening to me in South Africa right now know, and over there in Tanzania and in the Congo, they know who Ukulukulu is.
Ukulukulu.
Ukulukulu. Mm-hmm.
Say
now, what I'm saying is,
tell us what it means.
That our ancestors essentially spoke a language from how God spoke to us. We named God in accordance with how the region that we flourished in spoke to us. So the wind had a specific sound and a language. As it passed through the trees, it spoke certain words to those who were inspired and tuned into nature. So nature, with the babbling brook and the whirling of waters, would speak to those who had an open heart and an open mind. So we are inspired based upon nature being the mother being the first teacher. So when people start saying that, we were matrilineal and God was a woman and all this nonsense, yes, God is a woman to the immature mind, to the one who is growing in the knowledge. God is a woman because as a baby, you come out of that womb and yes, you suckle at who is God to you at that time. You don't know anything else but that breast and the warmth of your mother's love. But as you grow, you know the world is a bigger place. And then your father comes to teach you the wisdom of how to navigate on that land. So understand and overstand that, yes, as an infantile or an infant, I'm not saying infantile in the form of a derogatory term. I'm saying as an infant in your growth as a civilization and culture, nature is the mother that speaks to you and gives you everything. And then when a man sees this child coming out of this woman's body, And of course, his whole thing about his manhood, however big that is, like, holy mackerel, how am I going to satisfy a woman now? She could pass her whole body through that thing. You know what I'm saying? He's saying, oh my God, this has to be God.
Now,
so yes, of course. When you look at when you look at how nature plays between the yin and the yang, and understand how we all provide a function within that life dynamic, you don't try to supersede that. You try to enhance what those values or those structured energies or electrostatic, electromagnetic energies that are present in each one of us. When you look at the yin and yang symbol, you see that there's a black field with a small white one, and you see there's a white field with a small black. Well, that's to tell you that we are all of the same electromagnetic dynamic, the yin and the yang, the mother-father principle of God. But the smaller part is what lays in stasis and is involved. You involve yourself as the male in the larger part of yourself through the woman, whereas that small part of you is in stasis. And that's what attracts you to her. Just like the small part that's inside of the woman in that yin-yang symbol is in stasis to actually enjoy the relationship between her and the man.
No.
So we surrender. Let me just give this one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to understand that relationship between man and woman, it's a very simple equation. Man gives love to receive power, while woman gives power to receive love.
Ooh.
I believe that.
So
I kind of understand that.
Now, what I want you to do is hush up, because you're giggling and shit while he talking. You're on your cell phones and whatnot. Let me tell you something. Hold on.
I'm listening.
Hold on. Mimi
I'm
over
totally
here
listening.
rocking like she on her grandmama's porch, just rocking back and forth. Listen, let me put it in layman's terms. We all are willing to say that there's a target on black men.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They after the black man. They trying to tear us down in every angle.
Right.
But they after your ass too.
Yeah. Right.
But they're after you spiritually, psychologically. The conduit for black women's ascension in American culture is through academia. This is where you first made your encounter with feminism, was on college campuses across the country.
From white America.
Yeah, but do you also believe, if going back to what he said, that if men have give love to give power, and then we give power to give love, then of course attack the female or whatever to make you
take the power from the man.
To make it power for the man, you make him weaker.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean,
indeed.
In that context.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Exactly.
I do have a question. May I ask the question, please?
Well, I would like control of my show.
I'm sorry. Okay,
At
go
some
ahead.
point.
No,
I mean, at some.
Go ahead, sister.
Is it fine?
Go ahead.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You have questions?
Okay, yes.
Yes,
okay, so I've been listening to everything that you have to say. This is Sarah, by the way. I've been listening to everything that you have to say. I'm really, try to process everything, because I don't believe that me being closed off to what you have to, open to what you have to say, is to agree with everything you say, of course. But if I am I don't think you're telling me this to convert me to whatever you believe. I think you just tell them for informational purposes, because that's how I'm trying to process it. But if I am to really absorb everything that you say, it's almost I have to go ahead and delete everything that I have learned my whole life.
Yes.
But in doing that, if I'm not to believe what I've been taught my whole entire life, what is the source and the and the validity of what you're saying? Like who taught you? I'm not. This is not to be rude. No, I'm saying,
Right.
but it's like I want to know, because
I
if you're not coming, if I don't know if you're coming from a place of truth and fact, then how are you able to delete everything else? Okay, I'm sorry.
See, I think that's a very pertinent question. Most my students, before they become my students, ask me such questions, and I think that is a good question to ask. I personally don't believe in anything except what it is I have come to the understanding of, and through empirical contact with that truth. I don't have any truth. I deal with reality. And once that reality circles back onto itself to reveal the truth, then I'll say that is the truth. But I don't want you to believe me at all. You see, once I destroy and shatter what you believe, the problem is whether you're ready to take the responsibility to find out what it is that lies behind the bric-a-brac, the scattered remains of that belief. You want security before you step off into the darkness to find that light for yourself. The light is within. You have all truth within you. You have to jettison truth just like you jettisoned the last meal that you ate. After you've had it, do you keep all meals? Do you constipate yourself with everything you've eaten since a child? No, you defecate it out. And that's how knowledge must come to you. I teach my students that there are stages to knowledge. Knowledge is first information. That's all it is, data gathering. Once you data gather, you have a static form of information that has nothing to do with reality. It is just static. It becomes active when you take the chance, take the opportunity, take the information, this data that you take, and apply it. You make it active, you make it alive. You bring life to it by acting upon those static words. If at that point, that data that has been activated by your action upon it, that's what the data becomes. The data now becomes knowledge. Knowledge now has to be constantly reaffirmed. You have to consistently be ready to jettison everything you think you know.
Okay, so
if
Doc,
you do not remain empty, let me just finish the progression. If you do not remain empty, knowledge then becomes belief, and you stay at that place where that knowledge comforts you. It's called your comfort zone.
Now,
but if knowledge is constantly elaborated upon and allowed to evolve, that's when you now, taking knowledge, applying it, getting the feedback from that application, it then turns to wisdom. Wisdom now, after data to knowledge to wisdom applied and given freely without anything attached to it. If your teacher does not teach you to be free of him or her, then that's a pimp. That's a cult. A teacher is to teach you to be greater than he or she. And if I want to come back through you the next time, why would I make you dumber than me? So as a teacher, I have to come through you, and I have to be responsible for what I have, because knowledge, as they say, is a dangerous thing. So from knowledge comes wisdom. Wisdom is know who to give that knowledge to as well, because you never cast pearl before swine. So when you deal with that, now as you got to in wisdom, you now go inner, much deeper inner to yourself, and that's when you come to enlightenment.
Now, Doc.
So those are the 4 stages.
Now, Doc, hold on. See, you got to let me interrupt you, Doc, because we at the end of the show, and I'm trying to get as much as I can before it's time to go.
Right.
Listen, do you understand the importance of this show?
Yeah. Yes.
It's not a conversion mission.
Absolutely.
Okay?
It's knowledge.
Weekdays, you have a final question. Listen, because look, we only have 3 minutes. What's your question? We have to keep the question and the response brief because we got to get out of here in a second. Go.
Okay. So what I've gathered almost is like religion is almost like a corporation where we have these different corporations vying for control of the world.
Yes.
So from this, though, then if we absolve this indoctrination that everyone has, like let's talk masses, does the world erupt in chaos, however, because they're not ready for that type of enlightenment, or do we end up evolving to a higher place?
Interesting.
If order always decays into chaos so that order may return. That is the order of things. Order out of chaos, chaos out of order. If you do not have that particular structure, remember, we are in the temporal realm. Temporal meaning it's temporary. Everything has a timestamp on it. Your life, civilizations, everything that is born has an apex and dies, even civilizations, even ideas. So until you are freeing yourself of the illusion that somehow this plane really exists and is real, even to the senses that say that it is real, then you are trapped. When you become seduced by this realm, then you keep coming back in order to be more familiar with it. In other words, we're all super seniors. We have not yet understood the lesson plan to get out of where we are. Buddha said that we are cursed because we thirst to come back into the body. We thirst for this sensation that we call the physical life. So, as I said, as we're closing this, if you are all, willing to join us, say this weekend, you'll have to call to be able to enroll in our university. You can call 800-847-1291. Again, 800-847-1291. Or go up online at uksnow.org. And then there's a place there that you can register. You could look over our site, see what we're teaching Metaphysical Psychology 1, and that's psychology. This is the higher form of psychology, not psychiatry, which is a drug-pushing format. We're talking about philosophy, higher philosophy, what we call metaphysics. We take it back from metaphysics, which is the Greek. We put the K-E in front and put the chemet back in metaphysics. And we will help you to come into an understanding of yourself.
So, Doc, really quick, there's 4 sisters in here right now. Is there one book you could tell them to pick up right now? One book that could get them started on the path?
The Kabbalion is one.
What is it?
3 initiatives. The Kabbalion, K-Y-B-A-L-I-O-N, just to deal with that. There's another book by Keyes, K-E-Y-E-S, called The Handbook to Higher Consciousness. But I would suggest that they get The Wounded Womb. Because in it has not only the spiritual, but the psycho-spiritual, the physical, the metaphysical, and how could I say it? It has all of the ways that the trials of being men and women, especially for women, it has all of the trials that you have been tested under and by that has caused you to come into the pain and to the anguish and to the suffering that the womb has gone through for these past, I say, 70 years, and especially since feminism has come to the forefront of our society.
Wow. Hey, brother, I can't thank you enough for coming on here, sharing your time, talking to these young ladies. We might have to do it again. And if we do, y'all better pay better attention.
We paid attention.
The whole entire time.
The whole time. Oh, believe me, I paid attention.
Motherfuckers was paying bills and Snapchat, and there was all types of shit going on. Mimi was rocking like, oh, this nigga. I saw y'all giggling.
They were laughing at my face.
Hey, but brother,
much love.
I love you. I appreciate you. I can't wait for when you come to LA, awesome. You got to come in studio and chop it up with us, okay?
We would love that. I would love that. I would love that.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
you. Thank you. God bless you in the name of Jesus.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate the information. Thank you.
God bless you in the name of Jesus.
Right.
God loves you.
Now, let me just say this before we get up out of here. You motherfuckers disrespectful.
I said God bless you.
I am not.
Peaches, you're disrespectful. The man mentioned an African term, you start laughing.
He said Oka da Boka. What'd he say?
You have to admit that was funny.
That was funny. I'm sorry.
Anyway, the whole purpose is broaden your perspective. Shit.
Deep.
All right, I love y'all. Everybody continue to support. Yes. Go to bealsauce.com, totalpackageenergy.com. Please support the holographic relationship. I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. Yeah. We out. Deuces.
We out. Deuces. Shit. Damn.
Oh my God.
You know that shit was funny. That nigga said Oka.
He said Baba the Boka.
He said a boo boo. Made me laugh. Mimi ass looked at me at the same time and we both fell.
Shit. I'm supposed to believe in boo-boo, but I can't believe in Jesus.
Come on, bro.
You hear Mr. Sarah at the end tell him, God bless you in the name of Jesus.
Yes, girl. I was like, what are you doing?
That was wild. I am going to look up some stuff, though.
I know I enjoyed the information.
Hey, Phil. Phil got to stand for his stuff. See, he got some old...
You ready? Come on.
No, he got a tripod for his shit.
So do I. And scene. And scene. The monkey business going on in here. Excuse me, love. Sorry.
Thanks, though. See you Friday.
Bye-bye.